Hey everyone, today we're going to be working on backbends. So we're going to be doing at least a few of them, and just as a reminder, backbends can be pretty hard depending on what one you're doing, so just ease into the steps that we're going to go over, and if you want to do some modification and not even go for it, just listen to your body. We're going to warm up a lot because anytime I like to do backbends, I like to do it really safely and really feel good about it, because it's not every day you're, bending backward really far and trying to make your body make a shape like that. So I like to be really safe about it. So we'll be warming up a lot. As a mantra and a mudra, I wanted to give one to you guys today. So I wanted to give you the mantra or intention of growing where you're planted. So all of us are at very different stages of our yoga practice, and we all have different things we want to grow in, things that we want to learn about yoga, and mostly physically we have a lot of things that we are working on that are very different from everyone else in the group. So the lotus flower is something that I love the symbolism of, and it is a mudra as well, which is just a hand shape or symbol, and it is very symbolic of there's hundreds of mudras, but the lotus mudra is if you take the sides of your hands and you spread your fingers wide and you have them lifting up and out, so they're opening up, kind of blooming or growing upward. The lotus flower is something that they all grow in mud, and yet they are a very pure, really bright white color. And the symbolism behind it is that despite its surroundings, despite it growing in mud, it's beautiful. It's growing out of muck, it's growing out of something that's dirty, and it doesn't matter, your surroundings or your circumstances, you can still make something beautiful. You can still be something beautiful, which I think is hard sometimes with our yoga practices. Sometimes we think that we suck or we just can't do a pose. So just remember that that's our intention today. It doesn't matter how you're doing, how well you're doing in your standards. It's just that you are moving your body and you're working towards getting to a goal. And a lot of times that's the most influential part, is the journey. So find your way to your mats. We're going to start in child's pose. We're going to start with our arms extended out in front of us, with the knees spread nice and wide to kind of release that lower back. So just take a couple breaths here, finding your center, finding your ground. Slowly letting that intention of growing where you're planted sink into our practice, into our mind. And slowly starting to come up to a seat. Draw the knees in towards each other and the feet in. Sitting up nice and tall, roll the shoulders up by the ears and all the way back and down. And keeping the eyes closed, give yourself a couple more breaths. Starting to draw the navel in towards the spine. Tuck the tailbone under. And then extending the arms all the way out to the side, nice and wide. You're going to inhale the arms back. Slightly start press the chest forward, the shoulder blades squeeze together. And then exhale, start to arch through the upper body and bring the arms all the way forward. Head tilts down. Inhale to come back. Pressing the chest up and out, and exhale, curl everything in. Inhaling back. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Couple more times here. Inhale. Just moving with the breath. Inhale, bring the arms all the way out again. And then all the way up. Clench the fist, hands into fists, and then release them. Clench them again, and then release them. And then start to clench and unclench the fists as fast as you can. Warming up the muscles in the forearms and around the wrists. Keep everything else strong. Shoulders are relaxed. Down away from the neck. Couple more breaths here. And slowly release the hands, shake them out, give them the shoulders one more roll forward, backwards and then forwards. Doing one both ways. Inhale, the arms come all the way up. And exhale, bring the hands all the way down, plant them into the ground, and then picking up the hips, come back into a forward fold. So hands come back towards the feet. Give a little distance between the feet. Maybe finding a little bend if that feels better, or just kind of bending the legs one at a time, working them, waking them up. If you want to move, make it dynamic. If you want to just hang there, whatever feels good, listen to your body. On the inhale, come up to a halfway lift, extend through the crown of the head. Hands are on the shin, shoulder blades start to squeeze towards each other. Gaze is right below you. And then bringing the hands to the lower back, interlace the fingers, extend through the arms, and then bring the arms up and over. Slowly releasing the arms, bring the hands all the way down. See if we can deepen into that forward fold just a little bit more, a couple more breaths. And then finding a gentle bend in the knees, walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat, coming into Malasana or a low squat. Hands come to heart center, and the elbows are pressing the knees apart. Remember, keeping all the muscles in this pose activated. And extend the left arm out to the side. Right arm comes all the way up and open. And then slowly come back to center. Find your center here. And then other side, right hand comes down, left arm comes up and back. And then back to center. So like bringing the hands to the floor, we're going to walk them forward, coming all the way into plank. Coming into a nice straight line. Hands are strong. Everything's engaged. Hold it here for a couple breaths, warming up that upper body. Keep the hips dropping slightly. The belly's coming up. Heels are over the toes. And then downward facing dog. Lift those hips back nice and slow. And start to walk the legs out. Really dig one heel down into the ground at a time. waking up all the way down to the ankles. Remember, shoulders are rolled back here. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Remember, there's triangles in the hands. We press down a little bit more with those. Keeping our foundation strong. And then bending the knees, look towards your hands. Step it to the front, inhaling halfway lift. And exhale it down. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale up. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plank. We're going to start moving through our sun salutations. Surya Namaskar. Moving all the way to upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Remember to move with your breath. Bending the knees, look towards your hands. Find your way to the front, inhaling halfway. And exhaling all the way down. Inhaling up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Take an extra breath here. Close the eyes and engage all those muscles from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Inhaling, arms up. And exhale it down. Inhale halfway. And exhale, plank. And chaturanga, moving through your flow. If you want a little extra challenge, you can try and slow down your chaturangas. Keeping it nice and controlled. If you need to modify, remember you can drop the knees, you can come into cobra instead. Bending the knees, look towards your hands, find your way to the front, inhaling up again. And exhale down. Inhaling it up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to move into Surya Namaskar B, or Sun Salutation B. And on that inhale, your arms are lifting up, coming into chair pose. So sink the hips down, knees come together, big toes touch, and heels are slightly apart. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, plank. Stepping it back. Chaturanga. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Stepping the feet a little closer together. On the inhale, the right leg lifts up. And exhale, step it forward, low lunge. Inhaling, the arms come up. And exhale, coming back down. Stepping it back into plank, chaturanga. Moving all the way through your flow. Inhaling, left leg lifts up. And exhale, low lunge. Dropping the back knee. Inhale, the arms up. Exhaling, hands down. Step it back into plank. And chaturanga. Bending the knees, look forward. And then finding your way to the front. Stepping, hopping, jumping. Inhaling halfway, exhaling all the way down. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling, hands together. Take an extra breath here. And then inhaling, chair pose. Sink the hips nice and low. Your arms are in line with the ears. Make sure you can see your toes. Exhale, folding all the way down. Inhaling, halfway lift. Shoulder blades squeeze together. And then exhale, step back into plank, chaturanga. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, downward facing dog. On that next inhale, lift the right leg all the way up. Keep the hips squared here. Keep it lifting. And then exhale, step it right in between the hands. Warrior one. one, drop that back heel, the hips stay squared forward, and the arms come parallel with the ears. And exhale, hands come all the way down, stepping it back into plank. Extra little challenge here, you can try and keep that back leg lifted as we move through chaturanga. Lean back into downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts up. And exhale it forward. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. And exhale, hands come all the way down. Inhaling as you step back, extend that foot if you want to. Otherwise, drop the knees or do it regular, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And then bending the knees, find your way to the front. Inhaling halfway. Exhaling down. And then bending the knees, just slowly roll up to standing, all the way up. Ground through the feet. Let the hands fall by the sides, palms facing forward. On the inhale, chair pose. And then slowly come into cactus arms. Bend the elbows out to the sides, 90 degrees. You can check on your elbows. Make sure they're coming in at the same distance, same height. Check on your toes, make sure you can see them. And sink those hips low. Inhale, extend the arms again. And exhale, hands come all the way back down. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step back into plank. Chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts all the way up. Exhale, step it forward, warrior one, drop the back heel. Side of the foot presses into the mat and the hips square forward. Try to bring that front knee into 90 degrees or as close as you can. Taking the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. And then pressing the knuckles towards the ground, we're going to inhale as you lift the chest up, roll the shoulders back. And exhale, coming all the way forward to the inside of that front knee. Humble warrior. Inhaling back up to warrior one. And exhale, step back into plank. Plant the hands. Chaturanga. On the next inhale, lift the left leg all the way up. And exhale, warrior one. Step it through nice and slow, nice and controlled. Arms come up. And exhale, hands come back behind. Interlace the fingers. Little baby back bend here. And forward fold. On the next inhale, warrior one. And exhale, hands come back down. Plank. Hold it here. And chaturanga. Back in downward dog, we're going to do a little bit of a hold. And if you want to keep it just staying in downward dog, you're more than welcome to. If you want to make it a little harder, you can drop the elbows and come down into dolphin. So in both poses, you're still pressing the chest towards the back of the mat, and you're still planting the hands wide, planting them face down, palms facing down on the mat, fingers are spread wide, hips are pressing up and back, and just keep holding. Remember to keep your breath nice and smooth, nice and even. We're almost there. And then gently dropping the knees wherever you are, come into child's pose for a couple breaths. Slowly rolling up to a seated position. Shoulders coming back and down. Let the head lean towards that right shoulder. And then roll the chin all the way to the chest, to the left shoulder, and back down to the chest, to the right shoulder. And exhaling it down and back to the left again. And last time, going back to the right shoulder. And then exhaling the chin all the way down. Inhale the head up and back. And exhale it to neutral. Extending the arms all the way to the sides. Inhale, reach them back. And exhale, arch. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And then linking the thumbs together here, press the fingertips all the way to the, just fanning them out as much as possible. Inhale, the arms come all the way up. And start to bring them back behind the ears. Lift the chest up and out. And exhale, release. Slowly walk your hands back into plank. And then really slow chaturanga, coming all the way down to the mat. And we're going to stay on the mat here. So hands stay underneath the shoulders. Elbows are squeezing in. We're coming into cobra. Doing a few at a time. So inhale, squeeze in and lift up. Relax the whole bottom half of the body here. Exhale it all the way down. You need to remind those hips to relax. Just wiggle them side to side. Inhaling, lifting up. Elbows stay bent here, remember. And exhale it down. Inhaling up. And exhaling. And inhaling up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Keeping the hands right underneath the shoulders, curl the toes under. And you're finding your way back into downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up and back. Stepping the feet a little closer to each other. Inhale. The right leg lifts up and open at the hips here. Bend the knee, square the shoulders towards the mat. And exhale, step it through, warrior one. Back heel drops, hips are squared forward. Arms come up in line with the ears. On the exhale, we're going to pivot that back heel, coming into a crescent lunge. We're going to step it forward into warrior three. So you can keep the arms extended here. You can also keep them underneath you. You can keep them on the leg blocks. You can even have them down on the mat. Just find where your balance is and where your strength is right now, and where you can hold it. On the exhale, we're going to bend the knees in towards each other. Inhale, extend out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale. Inhale. And then slowly step the hands down. Step the back foot back. High lunge. And then dropping that back heel and moving right into side angle pose. So the right hand moves to the inner side of that right foot. Left arm comes all the way up. Then bringing that left hand behind to the lower back. Find a half bind here. And then try to find a full bind. Keep holding it here. Remember, if your gaze gets a little tired, your neck gets a little tired, you can move your gaze to right underneath you. Gives it a little break. But keep rolling that left shoulder open. Slowly unravel the bind. And then straighten that front leg, triangle pose. On the exhale, the left arm floats up and over. Inhale it back up. And exhale, left hand comes all the way down. Pivoting that back heel and the hips. Drop the left knee and press the hips forward. Remember, you can use blocks here. You have use of all of your props. Moving that right foot out to the side, we're going to come into lizard, or dragon pose is another name for it. And just keep gently pressing those hips down. If you can come onto your forearms, onto your elbows, that's great. Make sure you keep your gaze forward, so it's right in between the hands, just a little bit in front of you. And then coming back up onto the hands. Keep pressing that collarbone forward. We're going to walk that right foot right back underneath you, so it's a regular low lunge. We're going to slowly curl the back toes under to lift the leg, and then planting the hands down nice and firmly in the mat. Going to step back into side plank on the right side. Left arm moves all the way up. An option to kind of play with the legs here. You can lift the leg. You can bring it to tree pose, which is my favorite. You can also bring it down in front of you. And this is a great modification for side plank. It still keeps that bottom side of the body working. Couple more breaths here. And exhale, hands back to regular plank, facing the mat, chaturanga. Moving all the way back to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, left leg lifts up, open up the hips. And exhale, warrior one. Step it all the way through, drop that back heel. Hips are squared forward, arms are in line with the ears. Slowly pivoting that back heel, coming into crescent lunge. We're going to come into warrior three. So kind of bend that back knee to launch yourself forward and find your warrior three. On the exhale, draw the knees in, bending them in. Inhale, extend. Inhale, extend. Exhale in and extend. Slowly drop the hands back down and drop the back foot, high lunge here. And then slowly drop the back knee. You're going to slowly move into lizard or dragon on this side. So you can come down onto the elbows on this side as well. If you did it on the other side, you want to even it out, do the same thing. Keep squeezing that knee in towards your side. So that left knee is squeezing in towards the shoulder. Slowly walk up back onto the hands. Move that left foot into the center, right underneath you, and pick up the back leg. Drop the heel, side angle pose. Left hand comes to the inside of that left leg. Right arm floats up. Ground through the feet. And then finding a half bind. Slowly find that right hand to the lower back. And then if you can, a full bind. Keep rolling the chest open. Slowly unraveling the bind here. Extend the arms out. And straighten that front leg, triangle pose. Exhaling, the right arm floats up and over. Keep pressing those hips towards the back of the mat. You're really finding length from the hips all the way to the fingertips. Inhale the arm back up. And exhale, find that right hand all the way to the mat. Pivot the back heel, coming back into that high lunge. And you're stepping back into a side plank on the left side this time. Lift those hips all the way towards the ceiling. Try to stack the feet. And exhale, high plank. Hold it here. And then downward facing dog, lifting those hips up and back. Gonna keep the hips lifting towards the ceiling. Heels are falling towards the ground. On the inhale, slowly roll forward into plank, moving all the way through your flow. All the way to downward dog. Inhale, rolling forward one more time. Chaturanga. And that was more of a jerk. Inhale, roll forward one more time. Gotcha. Squeezing the elbows in, bring it all the way down. And then inhaling, upward facing dog. We're going to keep our knees on the ground here. Really finding that back bend. Release the whole bottom half of your body, relaxing it. You're on your hands and on the tops of your legs. Just pressing the chest forward, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And exhaling to a tabletop pose. Take a moment to kind of release any tension in the hands by flipping them over, just like we've been doing. Stacking the bones. And then stepping that right leg all the way forward, come into a low lunge here. Pressing those hips forward. On the inhale, the arms sweep up. Interlace the fingers except the pointers. Pointing them up and find a back bend here. Arms come back. Chest lifts up. And then drop that left arm to the back leg. Keep reversing. On the exhale, slowly find that right knee, grabbing it with that right hand, and then pick up that back foot. You can keep a blanket under this back knee, or you can even roll the mat under just over a little bit, maybe about an inch. It gives you a little more cushion. You want to feel this stretch all in that quad, that muscle. Releasing the foot, slowly come back. And then coming back into tabletop. One round of cat-cow. Inhale, belly drops, chest presses forward. Exhale, arch. Coming back to neutral. Step that left foot forward. Press the hips forward. Same thing on this side. Inhale, arms sweep up, interlace the fingers. Pointers pointing up. And dropping that right hand all the way into that back leg. Keep reversing. And exhaling, finding that knee, and then bending the back leg, grabbing the foot, pulling it in. Slowly releasing the foot, we're going to come back onto our knees. You can find the middle of the mat. And if you want to have a block behind you, you can have it you can have two or one. You can do one that's kind of in the middle. You can have one on either side of your feet. And it kind of gives you a place to fall back and reach. You can have it on either height too. So if you want to start on the top height or the middle height, that would probably be best. But your hips are right over the knees. And you always want your hips to stay right over the knees the entire time. So you're coming into camel pose. The hands come to the lower back, fingers are pointing downward, and on the inhale you're going to lift up with the chest and start to lean back. And if you want, you can stay here if that feels like enough. Otherwise, you can bring the hands back to the blocks and come all the way back. And if you don't want to use blocks, then you're finding your ankles or your heels. You can have your toes curled under to find them faster, whichever kind of variation that you'd like. Slowly come back up. Take a breath once you come back up. Your body just kind of soak in everything that you just did. We're going to do it again. So we're rolling the shoulders back, hips stay over the knees. Everything's engaged, controlled. Your core is strong here. Hands come to the lower back, fingers pointing down. On the inhale, lift up and back. You want to keep the hips pressing forward the whole time. Slowly come back up. Your head's the last thing to come up. Take a breather, just sitting back on the heels. We're going to do it one more time. 3 times the charm. So inhaling, standing back up onto the knees. Hands come to the lower back, fingers pointing down. On the inhale, lift the chest up and out. If you want a little extra challenge, maybe drop the heels so that your feet are flat on the ground. And camel pose, Ustrasana. Slowly coming back, sinking back on the heels, head's the last thing to come up. Helps with any dizziness, if you kind of feel weird coming back up, just really slowly taking the time to lift the head back up. On the inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And exhale, twist towards the left. Anytime we do a back bend, it's really important to twist right after before you do a counter pose of folding forward. It helps to reset the spine make sure that we're resetting our bodies correctly. Inhale, sweep the arms back up in the center, and exhale, right side. Inhaling back up, and exhale. Now we fold forward, arms back by the sides, forehead finds the mat, and just let the hips sink down. You can spread the knees wide if you'd like. And slowly bringing the hands right underneath your shoulders. You're going to slowly sit back up into the seat. Take a deep breath, inhale, and exhale. And then slowly rocking forward, we're going to bring our hands right down onto the mat, coming into pigeon. So you're stepping the left leg back, and the right knee comes forward right behind that right wrist. So just slide the leg back and sink the hips all the way down. And start to ease into this pose. We're going to slowly come into mermaid, or really whatever variation you want it to look like. So we're just slowly sinking the hips down, bringing the elbows down if we can, finding our stretch first, finding our pose. And then inhaling back up onto the hands, we're just pressing the hips into the ground. Curl the toes under in that back foot, lift the leg up a little bit, and just press the knee back just a little bit more so you kind of feel the pressure from the mat on the top of your knee. Makes it a little more comfortable. Keeping the right hand down, we're just going to bend that left leg and reach back to grab the foot. And your foot may be out here and you may not be wanting to grab it, so you can still keep it bent and just keep your gaze forward and just focus on pressing those hips into the ground. If you have the access, grab that foot though and start to pull it in towards you. If you want to go a little deeper, you can start to wiggle that foot all the way into your elbow pit, and then bring both arms up into triangle or cactus arms, and then bring your hands into mudras. And slowly release the leg. Nice job. Slowly come out of this, stepping back into plank downward dog, just kind of walking the legs out. And then switching sides, we're going to bring that left knee forward. And slowly draw the right leg back, sinking the hips down. Take your time. Same thing on this side. And then coming back up onto the hands, curling the back toes under, gonna lift the leg, press it back just a tiny bit, just so you feel that pressure on the top part of the knee, and it's more comfortable there. Keep the left hand in front of you, and bend the back leg, pull it in. And then start to wiggle that foot into the elbow, coming into mermaid. And releasing, bring the hands back down, and then stepping back into downward dog, just walk the legs out, take a couple breaths here. We're doing a little mini hold here. Keep spinning the hands nice and wide. Remember, we build our foundation from the ground up in yoga, so finding our foundation, finding our base with the hands and the feet, that's what's holding our body up right now. So we want to make that as strong as possible. Remind the neck to relax, maybe shake it yes and no. Couple more breaths here. And then looking towards the hands, try to keep the legs as straight as possible as you move your feet all the way to the front, all the way to the hips. Inhaling to a halfway lift, and exhaling forward fold, coming all the way down. Bringing the feet about shoulder width distance apart, about hips width distance apart. We're going to bend the knees and bring them into 90 degrees. Extend the arms, gaze goes forward. Start to dig the heels and the balls of the feet into the ground. And see if you can lift the toes. Start to rock forward on the toes and lift up the heels. And then bring the heels down, lift the toes up. Keep it strong. Belly's on the thighs. Coming back onto the toes. And back on the heels. One more time. And then sink it nice and low. Bring the hips and the sit bones all the way to the mat. We're going to come into, boat pose. Arms come parallel. We're only doing this once, just to keep our core warmed up. Squeeze the legs together, and the shins come parallel. Then slowly drawing the knees in towards the armpits. Grab the big toes with the pointers and middle fingers, and start to extend the legs, creating a V. Keep the chest lifted up. And then slowly draw the feet all the way down. We're going to scooch our hips forward and come onto our backs. We're going to be using bridge, or coming into bridge. So you want to have your feet flat on the ground and scooched in towards your sit bones as much as possible. And you want to have your feet just about 6 inches apart. You want your legs to stay in straight lines the whole time. And on an inhale, lift the hips all the way up. Arms can be by your sides. Keep the knees squeezing in towards each other. If you want to add a little challenge, you can take a block, put it between your legs, and squeeze the block. Squeeze the legs together. Keep lifting everything towards the ceiling. Slowly bringing the hands underneath, interlace the fingers, and roll the shoulders underneath you, lifting the chest up and out. Slowly releasing the hands, bring the hips down, release the block. Take a moment to breathe. And from here, you have a couple options. So if you want to stay doing bridge, you can do that, or we're going to move into wheel. So bridge is always a nice place if you're not ready for wheel, or if you just want to keep working on it. If you feel a little more tired today, really listen to your body here. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of flexibility to get into wheel. So I'm going to break it down for you. You're going to start with your legs the exact same way that you go into bridge. Your hands come on either side of your head with your fingers pointing towards your shoulders. And just like your knees are pressing towards each other, you want your elbows pressing towards each other too. Remember that center line that we have in our body, everything is squeezing towards it. So in wheel, literally everything is working all together and everything's squeezing in, and you really have to focus on that in this pose. So, bringing your feet to where they normally are in bridge. Hands come to either side of the head, fingers pointing down. There's a moment where you can kind of lift up just for a second onto the top of your head and then lift everything up. It's really important for you not to stay there though, because you don't want to put too much pressure on the neck. It's just kind of a launching point. So, pressing into the hands, pressing onto the top of the head, and then up. You want to start to press the chest towards the back of the mat. And squeeze everything in. And then to come down, you're slowly coming up to the top of the head and releasing all the way down, nice and slow. And take a couple breaths. Let the knees fall in towards each other, keeping that lower back relaxed. We're going to try it one more time, of course, just for fun. So again, if you want to come back into bridge maybe, or if you want to try this again, or maybe for the first time, we're going to bring the feet as close to our sit bones as we can, just about 6 inches apart. The knees are going to stay squeezing in towards each other. Hands come back on either side of the head, fingers pointing towards the shoulders. And then lifting up, and all the way up. Chest presses back towards the back of the mat. Slowly lowering down, coming all the way to the mat. Nice work. Bringing the feet to the edges of the mat. Just let the knees fall side to side. And a wind chill wrapping the knees. Bringing the knees back to center. I'm going to slowly draw the knees in. And then hug them in nice and tight. Keeping the right knee in towards the chest, extend the left one out. Take a deep inhale as you squeeze it in. And exhale, draw the knee across the body. Gaze is over the right shoulder. Inhaling back to the center, switching sides, left knee squeezes in, deep inhale. And exhale, cross it over, gazes over the left shoulder. And inhaling back to the center, squeeze the knees in. And start to try and relax the shoulders into the mat, moving all the way down the spine, all the way to the sit bones. Grabbing the sides of the feet, come into happy baby. Soles of the feet are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Knees come into the armpits. And then gently rock side to side. And then releasing the feet. I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together, bringing them all the way to the mat, knees still falling apart. This is the last pose before Shavasana, so if you feel like you want to do any of those last more restorative poses and counter poses to wheel and all the back bends we did, if you want to do one more, feel free to. And start to close your eyes in this pose, starting to relax all the muscles in the body. Moving from the toes all the way up the body to the crown of the head. And coming back to our intention of growing where we're planted, physically, mentally, spiritually, in every way. between each other. Let the arms fall by the sides. And slowly wiggling the fingers and the toes. I'm going to roll to one side, taking a couple breaths just to bring a little energy back into your body. And then slowly sitting up into any comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, bringing the hands to heart center, coming back to that lotus mudra. And then bringing the hands to touch the forehead and the lips and the heart and the ground. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with me again, and I'm looking forward to the next class. Have a good day.